Today, we shall once again continue the story that is Moonlight-Destiny. None other by Nix Laurent. We pick up a little bit further within the chapter. If you saw the previous video, Vegeta had an encounter with Frieza, and things did not pan so smoothly as Almighty Prince thought it would go. Anyway, the chief historian scholar said, "A Super Saiyan God is a savior created when 5 righteous Saiyans combine their power into another Saiyan with a pure heart. The ritual requires the 5 Saiyans channeling their pure energy and inner light towards the Chosen One, or in this case, towards His Royal Highness. The 6 Saiyans must gather in a circle, direct their palms towards His Royal Highness, and instill their energies and their inner light to him. With that, the Crown Prince will undergo a rather painful transformation as Yamoshi's spirit come over him to bless him with his overwhelming divine power. While this happens, his mortal power will rise to the level of gods. Once he has ascended to the realm of the deities, his form will be enveloped by the aura of a god, and his heart will burn with the flames of righteousness and divinity. When his godly power awakens, his hair will flare and shine like a crimson fire, and his eyes will ignite a scarlet blaze, filled by his fiery will, signaling that the flaming-haired, burning-eyed divine warrior has ascended." "You mean like that red-haired form he changed into when he healed me?" Rekon said. "Or himself," Caulifla continued. "Yes, just like what you witnessed. Perhaps being the direct descendant and reincarnation of Yamoshi, Prince Vegeta was able to tap into that godly power he inherited from him, subconsciously, but cannot unleash it at its full capacity and control it for him to use permanently. In order for him to do so, the ritual to call forth Yamoshi's spirit within him must be done." "I see," King Vegeta understood. He turned to face the rest of his people and declared, "Listen, I need 5 Saiyans with righteous hearts to gather around the Crown Prince and do as the chief historian scholar said." The Saiyans looked at each other confused. They weren't sure who among them had righteous hearts. Some suggested the following: Bardock, Gine, Kakarot, and Kaba. Kale and Mizuno suggested Vegeta's fiancée, Caulifla. I love how she's in this story. Minor tangent. But she argued that Kale is a better candidate. Kale timidly refused, flustered that her any-son sister, but not blood-related sibling, thinks she is more pure-hearted than her. Kale knew that it wasn't the case. She was hiding an impurity to herself, a speck of self-hatred about her inability to keep her loved one for herself. She insisted that Caulifla do it and help the Crown Prince, though she secretly hates Vegeta for stealing her beloved and his son from her. She knew the survival of her entire race and planet depends on Prince Vegeta's might. The Saiyans mentioned, aside from Bardock, agreed to try the method as instructed by the scholar, but they lacked another one. Kakarot suggested Rekon, but the royal guard denied of having a pure righteous heart with a flustered look upon his face, which indicates he was hiding a rather perverse mind. Nappa couldn't say he is a pure heart since he held a bitterness in his heart due to a past he wished he could just erase after his wife and child were murdered many years before Prince Vegeta's birth. And serving him as his attendant, Zorn also had the same sentiments as Nappa. While King Vegeta knew his own guilt, cowardice, and ambitions made him not righteous at all. Kakarot wondered what happened to them that made them think they don't deserve to be called as righteous. Not even Vegeta, their chosen one, is a true pure heart per se. One female child happily volunteered to help, a child who has recently trained in her hopes of serving the Crown Prince one day, after he has helped her greatly in the past. She just appeared out of nowhere with her father, who trained her upon her request after he was discharged from the public hospital. Kakarot recognized her to be the child they met at the public hospital, after the troublesome drama Vegeta caused the night after the Lantern Fest. The ministers also recognized her to be the child they have wrongly accused of poisoning the king. Echelon. The 5 Saiyans gathered around the Crown Prince in a circle, put their hands forward, their palms facing down towards Vegeta's chest. Everyone Pour your inner light and your energy into His Royal Highness, the Scholar ordered. Yes, the 5 Saiyans around the unconscious prince nodded. For the 3rd time, Vegeta found himself surrounded by darkness, filled with nothing but his own desperation once again, the heaviness of his body being pulled down by the forces of death towards the inevitable door to afterlife. With the pride of the Saiyan warrior race even more, with his own pride being the crowned prince, and the chosen one greatly wounded and humiliated, Vegeta cried his tears of regret. If only Frieza was not able to transform. No, if only I have listened to Papa and Bardock, I would have been able to kill that bastard. But I was a fool, blinded by my own pride and arrogance. I let Frieza achieve that power. I was completely wrong about it. I'm sorry. His self-blaming thoughts resounded through the endless blackness, his heavy heart filled with his regret and frustration at his own failure to fulfill the promise he made to his people. He was their only hope of defeating that evil man. And yet, his overconfidence has become his undoing and brought him to the inevitable. He was the reason why his people are going to die, while the universe will continue to live in a terror under the Galactic Emperor's tyrannical rule. He could imagine how disappointed everyone is at him. For this reason, he wondered if death would be better than to live a life of disgust, humiliation, and mockery among his people. He didn't want to suffer that kind of life where everyone, even Bulma, his father, and his friends, would look down on him in sheer dismay. Suddenly, he could hear a faint voice somewhere, echoing from the darkness that surrounded him. It was a soft, warm, female voice, so familiar to him, louder than any of his thoughts had ever been. It was calling his name. Vegeta, the feminine voice called. Suddenly, a pair of warm hands appeared out of nowhere and touched his face gently and lovingly. Mama, Prince mumbled, recognizing the owner of the voice belonging to his mother. He was already dead a long time ago. Oh yes, is her spirit in here to finally escort him to the afterlife? Focus on your senses, my son. Can you hear your people calling for you, crying out for your help? She said. In the distance, Vegeta could hear the faint voices of his father, Bardock, Kakarot, Kabe, Bardock, Gine, Caulifla, Nappa, Zorn, Redcon, Echelot. Those voices were backed up by several others he cannot recognize. They were all calling out to him. You are the chosen one, Vegeta. Wake up, open your eyes and come back to your people, the voice of his mother told him. Save them. Only you are capable of doing so, my son. The prince felt his mother's gentle touch over his left chest. Please call out to that fiery deity spirit sleeping within you. Summon him. Feel his powers flow, the flames of righteousness burning deep in your heart. Feel it with your pride and determination to end this fight. Brace the blazing fire scorching within you and awaken your true power. What does she mean by that? Vegeta couldn't understand. For some reason he could feel the warmth in her hand grow even hotter, as if his heart suddenly became ablaze by an unexpected fire she lit upon it. Following his mother's instructions, he welcomed the feeling, unknowingly summoning the powers of the deity spirit that resided within him. It's burning hot, like a glowing red iron. He could feel his heart start to pound at a frantic pace. The scorching fuel began to spread out from his heart into his veins, burning every single part of him. It hurts. The agonizing pain bewildered him greatly. What is this? This overwhelming heat of power flowing through him. It felt familiar, like the strange calm energy he used every time he heals people. However, this one was an intensified state of that. That power is growing immensely potent at a rapid pace. Just like fire, it's uncontrollable. Hurry, do it now or Planet Vegeta will be destroyed by Frieza! His mother's voice commanded him. In reality, Vegeta's crimson eyes snapped open. He found Kakarot, Gine, Kabe, Caulifla, and the young Echelot gathered around him. With focused expressions, their glowing hands reaching out towards him, engulfed by the Saiyan power they were channeling and combining with his. Oh, the pain! It to become unbearable. It felt like every single cell of his burned in the inferno-like service of the sun. Vegeta did his best not to cry out or scream for help. Confused and not knowing what was happening to him, he fought back the tears in his eyes. He refused to open his mouth to demand anyone what they are doing to him, or it would only turn into ear-piercing screams of his agony. He tried to focus his mind into other things, just to help ignore the pain. The first thing he wanted to know was where Frieza was. He tried searching for his nemesis energy and felt that he was fighting with Broly. Even in his state, he could feel Golden Frieza's overwhelming strength. Broly was as powerful as ever, but still nowhere near to Frieza's level. Studying the fight, Vegeta found Frieza moving around in hypersonic speed as he swiftly evaded each and every potent attack from Broly. The Emperor was obviously trying to tire Broly's stamina out, especially with that sluggish, hefty form the Super Saiyan was using. Vegeta began to worry. And we'll pause. Okay, where were we? Bit too early to end up here. Alright, let's go. Let's continue. Even in his state, he could feel Golden Frieza's overwhelming strength. Broly was as powerful as ever, but still nowhere near to Frieza's level. Studying the fight, Vegeta found Frieza moving around in hypersonic speed as he swiftly evaded each and every potent attack from Broly. The Emperor was obviously trying to tire Broly's stamina out, especially with that sluggish, hefty form the Super Saiyan was using. Vegeta began to worry for his former general's well-being when he realized that Broly was going to die anytime soon. A fool. But then, what made him any different from him? He was also a fool himself for allowing Frieza to manipulate his arrogance in order to gain the upper hand on him. Vegeta desperately wished to go in there, to return to the battlefield, to turn the favors back to him, to save his friend and finish Frieza once and for all. However, this burning pain of his body stopped him, rendered him helplessly incapacitated on this damned ground. Somewhere near him, he heard Bardock's stern voice. "Concentrate, you brat," scolded. Vegeta was confused and taken aback by that harsh voice. What? Concentrate on what? The pain? Suddenly being reminded of that pulled his thoughts back to the excruciating agony. Focus on the power being transmitted to you and combine it with your own, Bardock was telling him. For some reason, Vegeta heard his mother's voice in his ear. "Do it, my son." Vegeta did as he was told. He could feel the ki coming from Kakarot, Gine, Caulifla, Echelot, and Kaba flow through him. He allowed it to flow within him, mixing the energies within his own ki. Along those energies and the unbearable pain of his body, he could feel something else, something quite familiar. The same warm, calm, and relaxing power he used to kill Broly, Rencon, and Paragus. It was there again. He welcomed it, and when he did, he felt the pounding of his heart suddenly speed up, and it bewildered him so much it made his earlier resolve not to scream shatter. Taken aback by the staggering pain, he cried out lengthily, but quickly regained his control. He bit his lower lip to stop himself from screaming ceaselessly. He began to convulse against the ground due to the impossibly searing temperature of his body. His back arched upwards, being pulled by his burning, pounding heart. He could feel the power of the 5 Saiyans around him combined with his own. His strength began to build up, greater than he had ever felt. Abruptly, his entire body began to be enveloped by a burning red light, and Vegeta felt the heat at a more intense state than before. Soon, the fire inside his body began to pull away, as if his heart was sucking all heat from all over his body, only for it to gather in that one single organ just to stimulate its most intense beat and blaze. It was more than enough the Saiyan Prince could ever bear. He couldn't take it anymore. He could not control it any longer. Letting go, he threw his head back to scream lengthily and incessantly at the skies. The red glow burst upwards to part the whirling dark clouds away. An electrical storm strikes down from there and exploded into the Saiyan Prince powering up form. And then it happened. As soon as the potent red bolt of lightning struck him, Vegeta stopped screaming. The burning feeling in his heart faded, as its earlier rapid beating calmed and slowed down. The red glow surrounding his body faded into a pulsing fire, showing his dark brown hair changing color into crimson red. From its roots up to its tips, fluttering scarlet flame embers floated from his fire-like hair down to his body. He slowly opened his eyes. His iris blazed a fiery color around the dark-colored pupils. It appeared larger in size than his normal black iris against the narrowed, slanted shape of his eyes. His usually sharp, intimidating face now looked relaxed, calm, and younger. The Saiyans stared at Vegeta's floating form. His divine energy dissipated the dark clouds away, allowing the light from the sun to break through and enlighten their surroundings. They were unable to sense the level of his ki any longer, but the calm yet powerful pressure he was emitting was more intense than his Super Saiyan aura. He appeared to be leaner than his normal body build as well. In the battlefield, Frieza noticed that the skies had cleared, but he doesn't have the time to ponder about it as Broly continued to assault him ceaselessly. As he descended to the ground, Vegeta stared at his gloved hands in wonder, amazed by the odd and overwhelming feeling of his new powers flowing through him. Unlike the violent, rage-filled feeling of his Super Saiyan transformation, he felt more serene and clear, like the calm, gentle water of the streams behind the royal palace. Despite the tranquility of his mind, in his heart burned a sense of righteousness that urged him to punish the unjust and cruel monster threatening his world. What did just happen to me? What is this incredible power? He asked, particularly no one. He was confused by his transformation as well as the tone of his own voice. It sounded smooth and pleasant, unlike his normally cold and imperious voice. Vegeta didn't like that tone. "You finally did it, my son," King Vegeta said. The Crown Prince looked up at his father with a perplexed gaze, silently questioning him what he meant by his words. "You have finally become a Super Saiyan God." Super Saiyan God? The prince who has ascended to his first steps to the realm of the gods repeated in puzzlement. "It is a form greater than the legendary Super Saiyan," Bardock explained. "By channeling the energy of 5 righteous Saiyans through a ritual and summoning for the fiery spirit of the deity of the Saiyans, combining it with yours, you have become a Super Saiyan God. Because of this, you have gained a tremendous amount of power by possessing the divine powers of a deity within you." Ritual? Spirit? Divine powers? Deity? Vegeta was still confused. "Are you telling me that I have become a god now?" "Probably." "I see," Vegeta muttered in a seemingly disinterested tone. So that explained the overwhelming powers he never have felt before that's flowing through him by now. "So this is how it feels to be a deity," he mumbled to himself, observing himself. When he found the grinning Echelot's presence, Vegeta was surprised. He felt her ki among the 5 Saiyans who shared their power with him to reach this Super Saiyan God, and he could tell the girl was training to become stronger. "You've trained well, Echelot-chan," he told her with a pleased smile. "Yes, Your Highness. Papa has helped me train a lot," she told him happily. Vegeta regarded the girl's father, who bowed down before him in respect. The prince raised his hand to rub at the girl's spiky hair, smirking proudly at her. "I see. You did well, girl, he said. Now, I'll talk to you later, okay? I have a business to finish. Go and show that monster who's great and badass, Your Highness, as Charlotte cheered, which caused the others to chuckle at her delightfully. Sure, Prince winked at her. Vegeta whirled around to observe the fight between Frieza and Broly. He could sense Broly's energy declining rapidly by now. The prince frowned, though it didn't look as intimidating as it normally does. Did Frieza just get stronger than when he beat him earlier? Broly's stamina has dropped significantly, and Frieza saw this as his opportunity to finish the resilient Saiyan once and for all. He raised the finger towards Broly and fired a death beam to the exhausted Saiyan. Using his Hibictus technique, Vegeta teleported towards the ensuing battle and effortlessly moved the beam away with his finger. What? Frieza yelped in surprise when he found his beam being hurled away in the other direction. It detonated in a nearby rock formation, which got reduced into debris. Your Highness! Broly almost squealed at the sight of his prince back from the dead. Vegeta turned his head over his shoulder to regard Broly's presence behind him with a nod. Impossible! Why are you here? You're already dying. How come you're here all healed? Frieza demanded. Impossible! Why are you here? You're already dying. How come you're here all healed? Frieza demanded as he looked at the Saiyan Prince up and down and unable to believe his eyes. Vegeta turned to Frieza with a stern look in his eyes as he studied the Emperor's power for a moment, weighing the level of his strength and comparing it with his own now. Though Frieza's energy has depleted significantly due to the damage Broly did to him earlier, it is obviously higher than even his new godly powers. This ain't just enough to beat Frieza as well, not even after having 5 of his kind pass on their powers to him. As prideful as he is, Vegeta despised the fact that he unwittingly took their energies in order from him to achieve this godly level of power. Still, he knew that no matter how much power he miraculously pulled out, he would never be a match to Frieza's overwhelming strength. He has to find a way to match that ridiculous power of the Galactic Emperor. He didn't wish to ask any more help from his people either. Vegeta turned to Broly and pointed his right index and middle finger on the larger Saiyan's chest. He healed the beaten warrior instantly. Frieza's eyes almost dropped out from its sockets as he noted the display of instant recuperative ability. He didn't know Vegeta has the power to heal others. Also, what is that red-haired transformation? You did a good job, Broly. I'll take it from here now, Vegeta said to Broly, but he was eventually cut off when the larger Saiyan grabbed his arm and pulled him to embrace him protectively. Broly rolled around so his back was between Vegeta and Frieza. Vegeta saw several purple beams bombarding at the direction. It hit Broly's unguarded back as if the beams came from a machine gun. The attacker filled with psychotic, murderous rage as he repeatedly yelled the word, Die! 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 Laughing maniacally at the Saiyans. Frieza has finally snapped and was completely overwhelmed by rage. These annoying pests just wouldn't die. If they kept on rising back up to their feet, got healed the way Vegeta and Broly did, they would only get stronger. He has to kill them now before any of them produce another transformation and gain more ridiculous abilities. Vegeta's red eyes shifted towards Broly's face. What are you doing, idiot? Let me go! He yelled at him. He tried pushing Broly off, but he just wouldn't budge. Paragus, as well as the other Saiyans below, gaped at what Broly was doing. He was shielding the prince from the frenzied attack of the wrathful Galactic Emperor. Broly, stop this and release me this instant! That is a royal command! Vegeta yelled at Broly once again. Instead of doing as he was told by the royal crowned prince, Vegeta only perceived the younger Saiyan's iron grip on him, get even more desperate as Broly felt the beams contained more power than the first bang. Barrage. You fool! Take your hands off me now! Leave me alone! Are you defying my royal command? Let me go! Vegeta hollered at him, pushing Broly with more vigor only to be as futile as before. Frieza leapt into the skies and pointed a finger to the clouds, charging up his ki and forming a fiery orange sphere of destructive energy that grew and grew into a massive ball. This is what he called as a supernova. It was as more than enough power to destroy an entire planet along with its neighboring worlds. Whoa, that packs up a lot of power! Kakarot gasped in fright. Just what the hell is Broly doing? Why won't he let Vegeta go? That damn imbecile! King Vegeta seethed. The prince watched as Frieza prepared to launch that thing on their planet. Broly, let go and let me take care of Frieza or we're all going to die. This time Broly's grip finally eased. He lowered his eyes to gaze down at his best friend and smiled at him warmly. Tears began to fall from his eyes. I'm sorry, Your Highness, but I must defy your royal command this time. Confused by Broly's words, Vegeta's red eyes widened slightly. Broly, just like Vegeta, has observed earlier, knew that not even the prince's newly awakened godly powers would be enough to dominate and finish the immensely strong Galactic Emperor. The prince had also used some of his powers to heal him up, so it has probably significantly dropped as well. That's why Broly persisted on protecting him this way, instead of letting him fight like he wanted. Note that Broly was unable to feel Vegeta's godly ki, so he based his observation through the pressure the prince had been. Vegeta taught him the meaning of choosing your own fate, of deciding what he truly wanted to do with his power and his same pride as a warrior, without being told or influenced by others. This was the result of that choice. Before Vegeta could open his mouth to berate the larger Saiyan, Frieza hurled his supernova towards the two Saiyans, intent on destroying not only them but the entire planet as well. Die, planet, die! The crazed Emperor bellowed. A psychotic excitement appeared on his expression. Broly finally let go of Vegeta, kicked him out of the way before whirling around to catch the immensely powerful supernova in his two hands, as it ripped through the air with unstoppable force. Vegeta rolled several meters away, but because he was in too much pain due to Broly's steel grip earlier, he was unable to move just yet. As he found a satisfied smile across Broly's lips as he faced the devastating spear, Vegeta's loud, lengthy cry for Broly resounded, "Stop!" Boom! The spherical supernova ball, which held the fate of planet Vegeta, crashed against Broly's mighty hand. Stay tuned for episode 33. Coming very momentarily, I would believe so. Till then, go back and read this from the very beginning, and rest assured you will not be disappointed. That is it for now. Till next time, the godly Iron Prince is out.